I spent about half of the 2020s hosting a podcast called Delayed Replay, recapping and reviewing movies that came out on time in my universe but got delayed in that other universe. And as such, the movies as they were in my universe came out differently. Some listeners not of this universe even think that this is an improvised comedy podcast. And hey, let them think what they want. It's entertaining either way, right? I'm Steven Shinder, and you're listening to Delayed Replay Season 6. Hashtag 6 seasons about movies. New episode every other Saturday. Unless I say otherwise. Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Delayed Replay, that podcast where we recap and review movies that got delayed in that other universe but came out on time in our universe. I'm your host, Steven Shinder, and joining me once again to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day, it is Camille. How's it going?
Hi, Steven. Going good. Thanks for having me.
So, before we dive into this, what's been like your history with Spider-Man as a character, a franchise, and what have you?
I mean, so there's a chronological answer, but I guess the most immediate answer that came to mind is crying at every piece of Miles Morales media. Like every time when he's like, anyone could be under the mask. I'm like, anyone could be under the mask. Like even the DLC Miles Morales, I guess it was a PS5 game at the time. But very, very good. You know, I'm a millennial. I grew up on the Spider-Mans, of course. Tobey Maguire was my first Spider-Man. And oh, obsessed with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2. Was it one or two? Maybe both. PS2 game. Like, have you ever played that one?
No, but I've heard that those games based on those movies would include like extra villains or something, right?
Yeah, but it was just the swinging mechanics were amazing. Like I was obsessed. I would play it nonstop. Sometimes I do think my balloon to myself when things go wrong. I straight up at one point wanted to play the Spider-Man PS4 so bad because I heard it was like the swinging physics from the games that I grew up on and loved, but improved. And I was like, I had a friend who had a PS4, and I was like, can I just come over to your house and can I just sit and like either watch you play it or I can just like have the controller for like a couple minutes. I just need to feel like the swinging graphics.
Yeah.
Um, it's so good. And so eventually I like finally got like a PS4 and was able to play it. And I have a PS5 now, and every like basically every Spider-Man game is like the main title Spider-Man games are like an unfortunately like a day one purchase for me because I don't like purchasing games day one, but they're so good. They're so so good. And so I didn't read a ton of Spider-Man specific comics growing up because I was more of a DC girl. Um,
Hey.
yeah, I know. Cue the tomatoes. Um,
No, like I think I'm more of a DC reader myself. Like
yes.
like I did have Marvel Unlimited for like a year and I was like that was fun, but I think I can wait a bit before like trying that again. Like I do intend to like try Marvel Unlimited again, but I've been on DC Universe Infinite for years now. So
It's just yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just something about like the DC like comics, like even if maybe storylines, I don't know. I just yeah. But I had read a couple of Miles. I think I read basically like his first like major arc, and I remember liking it. So when Into the Spider-Verse was announced, I was really excited. And then when it was amazing, I was like, yes. They did him justice. Oh, I'm so happy. And that was very cute. My partner's nephew, like Miles Morales is his Spider-Man. It's not Peter Parker, it's Miles, except it's on the kids show they call Miles's Spider-Man Spin.
Oh yeah, that's in the Spidey and his Amazing Friends, right? The like preschool
Yeah.
aimed one.
Which is just and like I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it's just like he has like a very specific, interesting skill set of like he can like cloak, he can come invisible. He has like electric powers too. Spinning is not the first thing that comes to mind when I think of him. Uh, but I love all the Peters. And yeah, I love Spider-Man. I mean, what a great straight level superhero. And he's great in any situation you put him into, just like a really fun and interesting power set. I think we've talked a lot about, I mean, aside from Alan Webb, characters whose power sets are more like just being too stubborn and they won't give up like all of the Batgirl, Batmans. And so I think like Superman and like Peter's any Spider-Man skill set could feel like it could turn into this power kind of like power scaling mess of like, oh, he's so strong, he can do all these things. And that's not like his powers are really interesting and they can be used for dramatic effect so well and have solved problems in such like unique and interesting ways that like just focusing on like his strength or like just the more power scaly aspects isn't as interesting, and that's why I feel like his stories are usually better and usually a little easier to write than like good Superman stories, even though we just saw you can write a good Superman story. Yay. Because they lend themselves to such creative uses.
Yeah. Yeah, Spider-Man, like I love the character. I've watched and read some stuff as well, but I find that I'm different from like some other Spider-Man fans because online there are those types of fans who will like they have their own preference for like, and I don't know if you're kind of like this, but I mean, you touched on like the type of swinging, like the swing mechanics. Like I guess that's a huge deal for some people. And then, but you also have like the set of fans who like dissect the different costumes so much. And I'm just here. I'm like, yeah, the costume looks cool, but people will like try to compare them to like different comics and be like, whoa, I wish it was more like this or like that. Da, da, da. And it's like, I don't know. It just kind of those discussions kind of lose me, I guess.
I think all of like the like movie costumes have been really cool and I've liked all of them. The only time I've complained about a suit is in Spider-Man PS5, wherein like some of the recolor options that you have are just very ugly. And at the end of the game, Miles's end suit, where it's like, congratulations, you've gotten through the entire game. We're on to this final mission. Here's your fancy suit. And it's ugly. It's deeply, deeply ugly. And like I understand why everyone's upset because I'm upset. Like he deserves better than this. Like my
Well,
God.
I feel like for that, they should allow the player to design what that final suit in the game is. Similar to like being able to design your own lightsaber toward the end of a game.
Oh, that would actually be kind of fun. That'd be fun. It would definitely turn out less ugly than that blue sponsored, like, I think it was like Adidas
Oh my
Nightmare
God.
was, yeah, the focus was on the shoes and the shoes were not good.
Damn. Yeah,
Yeah.
like just hearing Adidas, I can already imagine like the black and blue and just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that
I've
sounds.
um I've heard really great things about those games. I still haven't played them yet. I think my brother has, but yeah, those are like something that I know eventually I need to get to. Yeah.
You should. You should. Have you played like a Spider-Man game with like web swinging where like the physics are like a component of it?
Yeah, I've played Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Spider-Man is playable in that.
I'm laughing because I remember like I've played that one too, and like the swinging is not good, but I'm also laughing. Quick aside in that I had brought for some reason I'd brought my Xbox to like my grandfather's house, and we for some reason he had made me watch a Twilight Zone episode, was To Serve Man, and that really freaked me out and upset me. And so I was playing Ultimate Alliance to like calm down. I was like in elementary school or something, and he was like, "How is this violent video game less stressful than this episode from the 1950s?" And I was like, "Well, that's existentially scary. This is just like a relaxing beat 'em up.
Yeah, like with the superhero stuff, you know that things are probably going to be okay in the end.
They're fine. Humanity won't all be doomed to serving a random alien species that's kidnapped us and then eat their dinner."
Yeah, it's kind of funny how the first Twilight Zone TV show came out pretty much around the same time Marvel was starting to have its boom. So in a way, it's kind of like you have this slightly more hope core type of media sort of juxtaposed against some more existential and sometimes depressing Twilight Zone stories.
Huh, that's a really good point. That's really interesting. I think one's about like thinking through like our fears and anxieties as like a culture and society. You know, there's like, wow, I wish we had this person to come like save the day, like a superhero, basically.
Yeah, like some of those problems in the Twilight Zone could have been solved if they had superheroes, you know? Like the one with the ventriloquist and the dummy, you know, Batman definitely could have saved the day there, you know, he's had experience there.
He's like, I'm built different. Don't worry, I've got this. I'll solve this.
Yeah.
But so coming back to say that to feel the real swing in physics, it's addicting. Like if you can't like get your brother, like I will like come bring over my PS4.
Yeah, like in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, you don't really get opportunities to swing from skyscrapers, whereas like in Ultimate Alliance, it's basically, you know, like sometimes it's like from the side or from behind the team, and you're just like swinging from the ceiling or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember. I was like, we're in an enclosed room. Does it really make sense for him to be swinging? And I'm like, I move a little faster. I want to move a little faster.
yeah, but not having played any Spider-Man games, like before that, like it didn't really bother me, and I think Spider-Man was probably the one of the characters I liked playing as the most. You know, Deadpool was another one.
Yeah.
But before everyone and their nephew knew who Deadpool was, you know.
Oh
But
yeah.
but yeah, a fun game, a nice gateway into Marvel stuff that's not Spider-Man. Because before then, like the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, you know, the first two had to come out before that game, and those are like the only Marvel movies that I'd really watched. And so after playing that game, my brother had to explain to me like what's in Marvel and what's in DC, and we started renting like the Marvel movies I hadn't seen, and also like Batman Begins and stuff like that. So and this was pre MCU, so it was a time, you know.
That's so lovely. I mean, yeah, like I remember, I feel like we've talked about this before, but like I remember like finishing watching the first Avengers movie and going, "Oh wow, they pulled this off." Like they pulled like this crossover off. I didn't think they were going to be able to pull this off. This is going to like be big, or they're going to be able to sustain it. And now everything is a cinematic universe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for better or worse.
better for worse, but it was a big risk, and I feel like they don't, in some ways, they don't get like enough credit for like having that actually work and having it work for like a number of years. In the number of years, the exact number can be debated, but the fact that it did work for some time is impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like we're going down such a rabbit hole, which I mean, we're talking about comics and comic book movies, so it's whatever, but um like the basic premise of that first Avengers movie, it feels like such a simple premise, but the actors like they make it work. And you had a few movies before that which I think were generally good, but you wouldn't have as much like everyone in school is talking about these movies until that first Avengers movie came out, and like it became even more mainstream, and now like more people go to Comic Con. And I have this friend who is I don't know how many years older than me he is. Maybe he's not that much older, but he says he kind of misses a pre 2012 Comic Con when it wasn't as crowded. So I mean that's what happens, you know.
Yeah, no, that's true. It definitely like the MCU definitely is the reason why San Diego Comic-Con is so crowded now.
Yeah. So with Spider-Man a Brand New Day, so this is the fourth Tom Holland solo Spider-Man movie. And at this point, Sony is, they've been doing these, working with Marvel Studios on these Tom Holland ones, and they've also done the animated Spider-Verse movies. And here in our universe, there's some crossover with those and with the like solo villain movies, which were a weird choice. But um, now Sony is like, you know what? We're tired of having to abide by Marvel Studios' continuity related stuff with like Avengers 5 and all this other stuff building up to it. So we're just gonna make it more of like a solo standalone movie that doesn't have too much lore to remember, and just use the weird stuff happening with the multiverse as an explanation for like why some things are now like wiped away. It's kind of like a soft reboot, beginning with this like opening recap that's like comic book style and trying to tell you what you need to remember about Peter for this movie. And it's like, whoa, Aunt May died? What, how'd that happen? It's like all this weird stuff. But yeah, but we basically have a new, simpler status quo for this one. And like Peter's going to, he's gonna go to college, and um somehow his MJ and Ned don't remember him at this moment, and he wants to reconnect with them. So what do you think of this approach, like with this fourth Tom Holland movie?
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad we don't have to acknowledge the existence of Craven or Morbius
Yeah.
because I think our lives are better for it. Um, and I really liked just like the clean slate reboot. I feel like especially like the first couple of Tom Holland Spider-Man movies felt very much like there's a lot of Tony Stark influence, and oftentimes the stakes didn't get to feel very street level. And as initial like discussions of when the movie was filming, like felt like we didn't get to see him swing that much. Like get him to swing around New York. Like it's not, to me, that's not like seeing Batman's parents die. Like I'm good on seeing Batman versus parents die, but like swinging around New York is like it's such a cathartic feeling that like you gotta have the swings. You gotta have the swing scenes. Like it just feels so good, especially because Tom Holland is an amazing gymnast. Like he can do these stunts. Let him swing. Let him do flips. He wants to do flips. Or at the same age, let him do flips before like his back hurts and his knees get sore.
Yeah. Before they have to rely even more on like weird looking CGI. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I liked that Peter got to go to college. In the Spider-Man PS4 game, I think he's a grad student, which also feels right. Like, kind of just like very broke, very bumbling, and uh, uh, Peter is an undergrad in this movie, of course. But that also feels right too of him kind of like struggling to like adjust to this new reality where he doesn't have anyone. And it's hard, but it's also like a good change of pace for him to have to like be at ESU. Where I mean he does see like old familiar faces that it's hard he can't like really talk to. Um, but it's nice that like he has this like life to balance. I think sometimes, like especially now, like I think being fixated on parts of Peter's identity, like him being a photographer as his main identity, I think when we focus too much on that, we kind of lose sight of why that would have been more relevant back when he was originally created, and now why maybe like broke college student and like maybe in the future like if he like wants to take freelance pictures a bit. But I think like he went to like a STEM high school. I think focusing on the fact that he is a smart kid, that's always like struggling balancing everything, is really interesting.
Yeah. With the way that they introduce the new setting, they kind of play with our expectations a little bit because he arrives on campus and he is told, wait, you still need to like register for your classes. There's a glitch and you need to like pay this fee or you'll be dropped or whatever. And so for a good little chunk of the movie, there's like an audible groan in my theater because like everyone wanted to see him in college finally, but he eventually like, solves that and gets the fee in time. But yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's fun. It's fun seeing him do like these odd jobs, be able to like pay that fee, and I think it really helped tie into the street level stuff. I mean, we saw a couple glimpses of that in some of the other Tom Holland movies, but I felt like this time I really felt like we really got to see him be part of the community, and really and have the more his Peter Parker side help him with his Spidey side.
yeah. And the college setting, it's I do prefer it over the high school setting. I know people really love, well, depending on who you ask, like love Homecoming. For me, Homecoming is fine, but I'm not as high on it because the way that the bullying is done is really annoying and perhaps reminds me too much of how cringe some of the bullying in high school was, all the verbal bullying and all that.
Yeah,
So,
it is funny. You got bullied at a STEM school. It's like, okay, you got bullied for being a nerd at the nerd school.
yeah, and when in the beginning of Homecoming when a couple of the kids are playing a game of F Mary Kill, and one of them says F Thor, it's like I've been to high school. I know that a high school student would say the actual word, not just F. It's so it was a weird disconnect there as
Let
well.
them swear.
But I do love how the college experience is different from person to person. Like Peter sees some people making friends quickly, which is a thing that does happen, but there's also the aspect where he in his case he is someone who feels isolated and doesn't know how to make friends at this new place now with things being how they are. So doing these odd jobs and also trying to look into some of the extracurricular clubs and whatnot that are on campus was a fascinating way to see how he tries to get on with his personal life in between fighting crime in this movie.
Yeah, I think like we get to see, I mean, I feel like Tom Holland's Spider-Man is usually like he's a polite little boy who's then he's stressed out. Um I feel like um which I feel is like a bit different from the other interpretations. And so it was nice in this one, like Tom Holland's a good actor, and it's nice to see in this one him have to struggle with feeling like isolated and lonely and like upset that like none of his loved ones remember him or and he's not his aunt's his aunt died and that he's just like having to come up with ways to reach out to people. I think that's really healthy to show like, hey, like he is struggling and he is like showing his emotions and like reaching out for help and belting the words to Pink Pony Club by himself at a dive karaoke bar because sometimes we all get there in life.
Yeah, that what a scene that was. Like that scene was all over my socials, like even before I went to go see it. So I was like, oh, I guess this is in the movie. Okay. Um, but yeah, like a bunch of us have been there before where especially during college, going to karaoke bar and trying to like sing your heart out and stuff. Um, and there is some of that residual, like some of that leftover humor from the previous movies where he's flipping through the book that has the different song selections and he's like, should I sing that really old song Bohemian Rhapsody? And it's like, okay, you don't have to keep making that joke. We already feel old as it is. Okay, Peter.
That ancient vintage song.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's nice that we've like spent so much time talking about like the more human, personal, like Peter Parker side, and like we haven't even like talked about the villains yet. I think that shows like they did a good job in this one of kind of putting Peter first in a way. I feel like some of the previous Tom Holland movies kind of focus more on his friendship and mentorship with older who he thinks are superheroes. I'm thinking of like Tony Stark and the who he thought was a superhero and Jake Gyllenhaal, um, and I guess the other Peters. And that it's nice that we get to see a bit more of this Peter on his own and like going through his own things and like the villains are there and they're good, but what's more interesting is like the more human elements that we're getting to see.
Yeah. And we do see, in this bar, like way in the background while Peter is singing, we do get a glimpse of like a shadowy figure who like, takes a drink and then like squeezes the glass until it's like just shards of glass. So it's like, oh, okay, I get that shot went kind of hard. Um, and we do learn
There's a
that,
villain coming.
and we do learn that it ends up being uh Mac Gargan, who is now Scorpion by this point, but apparently has been to, during like bar hopping over the years, I guess apparently like came into contact with a piece of the Venom symbiote. So they're doing like the Venom Scorpion thing here. And it's quite a leap, like doing that in this movie. Like I don't know. I know that it's Tom Holland's fourth movie, but it still felt kind of weird to like go this hard.
Yeah, yeah, I guess they're like, well, you want Venom, here's your Venom, here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, because that, even though I haven't like read the storyline, I know that that's a thing that happens in the comics. Like
Of
Scorpion
course.
gets Venom on him at some point, apparently, and
I'm
Yeah, that
flashing back to Commissioner Gordon, or I don't even know if he was commissioner at the time, but Jim Gordon in a Batman mech suit while
yeah, that was during
Bruce
like
had amnesia. That's the level that sounds like to me.
yeah, that was like late New 52. I think that was. I remember that.
You're 52. You gave us very few good things. Very, very few.
I feel like the few series that I read from New 52, like some of it I really liked. So I'm like, did I just avoid the series that people like don't like from New 52? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because you didn't read Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Oh, that's true. I only read like the issues that had to do with like whatever Batman crossover was happening. Yeah.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah. And we've also talked about like the Batgirl of Burnside, that storyline that, yeah, could have been better. But uh yeah. But there's also like another villain in this movie. And what you think of what they did with like the statistics professor here, like in this like scene?
I thought it was really fun to have like Peter. I feel like oftentimes he like his Peter Parker enemies are kind of like, oh, you didn't do this thing. And I felt like someone who like actually challenged Peter on because he's like a smart kid and he's used to being smart and having him be challenged on like his assumptions and like his worldview and also the fact that he can never turn things in on time. I thought that was really like nice to show like even like a very smart kid was struggling in college and like just balancing everything and like sometimes like it can be adversarial with professors but sometimes they're also trying to like help you.
Yeah. And it was an interesting dynamic here. Like the statistics professor, there is a moment where uh this professor like offhandedly says, "Oh man, I kind of don't miss Tony Stark. I kind of hated that guy." And so you kind of wonder, "Oh, is this person gonna be like the new villain because of
Hey,
that whole
Walter.
trend?"
Yeah.
But yeah, they kind of subvert our expectations, but no, it's just a normal professor here.
She's just got an axe to grind with billionaire playboy Tony Stark.
Yeah. But we do get this like tangential scene. Like at some point we do see because one of the clubs that Peter is part of is like into electrical engineering, and so at some point they take a trip to a power plant, and there's this power plant worker who creates this suit that's supposed to like protect against electricity, but um he like lets it go to his head, like this invention of his, to the point where, and we find out, okay, it's Rhino, it's Alexei's sister bitch or whatever his name is.
I'm glad he got to be smart. He got to be smart. There's also an anti-electricity suit in the first Spider-Man PS4 game that's like black and yellow. It's very cool. And so just like not similar to the one in Far From Home. No, No Way Home. There's just too many homes.
Yeah,
Um,
we need to get rid of all homes,
well, they did.
just
Brand new day. No
yeah,
more home.
just everyone should live outside like humans were meant to from the beginning.
No, no, I need AC. I need a roof. The sun is very bright here.
Yeah, that's fair. um but yeah, it was nice to see a Rhino who is not just a mech suit, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very much more comic accurate the way it is here. um but yeah, what'd you think of Rhino as an adversary here, and like the scenes that, the fight scenes with him.
I think it was really good. It's always like good to have a villain who is a foil and helps push the movie's themes forward. I know that feels like a very like storyteller like perspective to bring in on like did I like this guy? But I bring it up just because I think I really enjoyed the way that they showed how Alexei was like, well, I have to do it this way. Like this is the way that I'm going to be powerful and successful is just like bulldozing my way through these things and like getting what I want. And I think especially Peter, like having been like now being isolated and trying to make more friends and stuff. And we also see a bit with this statistics professor of like there's like he's like, well, now I'm on my own. There's only one way I can do these things. And have him be challenged a bit and see that like actually no, like there are other ways, like it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to like think of other have have a more open mind to some of these problems that he's facing.
Yeah, and one of the people that I meet is played by Sadie Sink. What'd you think of her character here?
I thought I really liked the kind of the passion and energy she brought. I thought she was really fun and like was a bit more I really love MJ. And of course I love Zendaya. Um,
Yeah.
but Zendaya is very much like MJ's very shy and she's like and she plays that off by being like a cool girl. And so I felt like Sadie's energy, her character's energy was really fun. And it was kind of fun to watch like them bounce off each other. But of course, MJ forever, and I'm glad we did get to see a lot more MJ than I expected. Thank God, because I'm
Yeah.
still mad about the first Spider-Man movie and the fact that she barely had any lines.
Yeah, and apparently they didn't know while they were making the movie that Zendaya was so famous. Um,
Are
but
you
yeah,
kidding me? Seriously?
yeah, I read that somewhere. Like later into production, they found out more about her, and they're like, "Oh wow, she's really famous." Yeah, I think that's another reason why I don't rank Homecoming quite as high is because there's not enough Zendaya, and she is so funny in like Far From Home and whatnot, and it's like if you have her in the movie, why wouldn't you utilize her more, you know?
Why would you not utilize one of like the actresses of her generation? Like insane, insane to me. Well, she
Yeah.
got the best deal, like being in that movie out of anyone. So, and that's
Yeah.
Finding Love. Yay!
Yeah, and for a bit of Brand New Day, they we do kind of see Peter, he sees Ned and MJ from afar, and there are moments where they kind of try to make the audience wonder, are Ned and MJ a thing now? And it's like, if they were gonna be a thing, it would like cause some outcry. So what'd you think of like when Peter finally like gets to talk to them and finds out more about from them and they find out more about him?
Well, I thought it was just like so like sweet and heartbreaking in a way because he was trying to like be low profile and keep his distance and so, like you could tell he cared still so much and that is why he was like inner like spending time with Sadie Sink's character to kind of like be like well I can't interview like I gotta get over this but like those the bonds that he has with both Ned and MJ are just they're just they pull back to each other and it was just really sweet to get to see them finally talk and it was just so heartbreaking to see them not still not recognize him but it was a very funny awkward scene of MJ and Ned being like what no No way.
Yeah, they're like, no, we're not together. No offense, that type of awkwardness. It was so good. Sadie Sink's character's name, her name was Jamie, and I think that was like they were trying to make the audience think, oh, is he gonna end up with her because her name's kind of similar to Mary Jane, and there was speculation that like she could be that sort of role, but no, I like that they stick to their guns. Like, yeah, Tom Holland and Zendaya, like OTP.
I mean, if you got that kind of chemistry for free, you didn't have to do screen testings for that. I would use it. I would use it. And like pining and yearning and like wanting things deeply underrated in like the Marvel universe. Like I think that's what makes Pepper and Tony's relationship in the first movie or so really memorable is because that they do have this like it's not they don't get together for they aren't together for like oh she doesn't know my secret identity, oh I can't put her in harm's way, but it's more of like oh well there's this other thing and like we have this relationship and this years long friendship like I don't know and like also this is well, you've undergone a big change and growth, like how kind of reevaluating each other in their relationship. And so I thought it was really sweet that we got to have a bit of that pining and that yearning in a more mature way than like kind of like the high school crushes that we were seeing in the the home movies.
Yeah, the not the Macaulay Culkin movies, but yeah.
We gotta
um,
get him and Brenda Song in a Spider-Man movie.
yeah,
I think they'd be fun. They'd be zany in one.
yeah. Oh man, earlier today I saw this reel that showed like the you're watching Disney Channel thing where they have the wand and make the Mickey ears.
Yeah.
They showed one of Brenda's song during and from like 2008, and then they showed another one of her from like 2019. Like I guess she came back for something. It's like whoa, like that.
Oh,
I feel so old now.
that's so sweet. Also, speaking of them both, a shout out to Kieran Culkin, who was very unexpectedly in this movie playing like a smarmy businessman, you know? If you get typecast as something, might as well have it be something where you can have a fun role as this like smarmy like business developer.
Yeah, and you could really tell he's like trying to scam people, and it's like with some of these types of characters, like I guess because of the past movies, I'm like wondering to myself, are they trying to make them like a supervillain or just like a normie, like just normal real life type of villain, like someone you can meet on the street who will rub you the wrong way or something.
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard too because I think his character shared like the name of like some D-list supervillain, so they're like, oh, is he gonna be a supervillain in actuality, or like, is he gonna get powers, or is he just gonna be like this jerk business guy?
Yeah, I think his name was Warren, and so people were wondering, oh, is this supposed to be Jackal? And it's like, oh, I guess he just has sort of, you know, Jackal, like monstrous, smarmy businessman behavior type thing. I don't know. Yeah, he's another one of those green Spider-Man villains.
Oh, he's got so many, you know, when
Yeah,
it just makes it look visually interesting.
yeah, for sure. Um, but there are like a couple other like MCU connections. Like, you
I
know,
interrupt you only to say that I've looked him up and he looks ridiculous.
yeah.
Like if you thought Green Goblin looked a little like cartoonish, like this is like a Green Goblin and Man Bat had a baby and it's a big Saturday morning cartoon energy. What a delight.
Yeah, and later on in the movie, it's kind of a blink and you miss it, but in the background, you can see like a commercial on the TV where he's like advertising his business, but he's wearing like this goofy ass jackal like furry costume. It just looks so ridiculous. It's like seeing someone wear like a Chuck E. Cheese outfit or something.
Even business developers can't always have their dignity, I guess.
Yeah. But another green character we have in this movie, Hulk slash Bruce Banner has like a little cameo. Like he sort of gives a guest lecture in one of Peter's classes. And going into this, I was fully expecting him to be like the new mentor figure, like Tony Stark or Doctor Strange or something, but they didn't use him too much. Like he didn't overshadow Peter. He just gave him a bit of advice on how to cope with loneliness and isolation and stuff, and that eventually it gets better. You eventually get accepted and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah. That's so sweet. I was just laughing at how like Spider-Man keeps accidentally being like a gay allegory.
Oh yeah, I guess he does.
But
Yeah.
no, it was so
I,
sweet, especially because like we know Bruce Banner has struggled so much with like the mental health stuff. So that was really lovely.
Yeah, and seeing him on a campus when, in his first movie, The Incredible Hulk, he caused a lot of destruction on a college campus. And it's like, um, just seeing how far he's come. People online talk so much smack about how like, oh, Hulk is too weak now. And it's like, shut up. Like you're telling me you weren't inspired seeing how he is now at a place where he's at peace and is accepted by people now. Like what's your deal?
Exactly. Exactly. Let him be happy.
Yeah, and there is also a scene where Peter is hanging out with his friends, and then getting closer to Ned and MJ, getting to know them more once again. And then suddenly, because they're in the city, but suddenly Rhino shows up and starts wreaking havoc. And so Peter has this dilemma where he's like, oh, do I abandon my friends for now and have them wondering like what happened or what, that whole thing. But suddenly, like Punisher, played by John Bernthal, shows up. It's just like fighting Rhino. So it's like, oh, I guess he doesn't have to like abandon his friends right now.
Thank God there's like four people defending Hell's Kitchen for some reason. A
Yeah.
very small city block.
Yeah. There's even like a Daredevil like appearance in this movie too. But yeah, it's what'd you think of the inclusion of these characters and how much screen time they got?
Well, I don't care for Punisher. So I'm glad his screen time was very brief. And I am saying that while also disclaiming that I've not watched his Netflix series. I've heard it's very good. I just don't like the way he has been like co-opted. But I really liked the like you
Right,
said,
sure.
the inclusion or the way Bruce Banner was included. I like Matt. I like his little Catholic guilt running around. I like that they were able to do their little flips together. Like it was fun, like watching them both dive off a building. Like those are the kind of superhero shots that are the reason why you're in the theater with a big bag of popcorn. And so I liked it. But I do have to ask you, how did you feel? Because this is a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. How did you feel about the setup for mayhaps a young Avengers?
Yeah, I feel like this is something they've kind of been hinting at for a while.
Yeah.
So it's been such a slow burn, but to see that there's like maybe finally a bit more progress in this, because like you do, so they're sort of like they start off with like sort of Peter is sort of chatting anonymously online, and you come to find out that oh he's been communicating with um you know, oh, what Kate Bishop? Yeah, I was trying to remember her first name. You know, been communicating with her, and she's in touch with Ms. Marvel, and you know, there are these other characters like America Chavez, and
I also
um,
like it was very cute to see Kate Bishop's and Peter Parker's dynamic because they're very sweet together and like very fun.
yeah, and also kind of funny because I think Kate Bishop's actress Haley Steinfeld, she also voiced Gwen Stacy in the Spider-Verse movies, right?
Yep, she loves being around spider people.
Yeah.
She's like, sign me up. It's also very funny too because like I'm sure you've seen that panel before where like Tony Stark's like, we have money, and Peter's like, oh thank God, I'm so
Yeah.
hungry. And so that kind of same like I think Kate Bishop is done with college. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and check on the Hawkeye
Yeah,
series.
I think yeah, she's in her 20s, I think. And you know, you also have Cassie Lang, and so they pretty much like form their own club, which is kind of fun to see because you have these college clubs, but they also have like their own like secret club. And what'd you think of where their whole setup was?
I thought it was very fun. I liked the bodega secret entrance. Yes, it was
Yeah.
cheesy, but it did make me smile. And like, I always love there were these hidden train lines that are disused, and we got them working, and we're able to like clean them up to hang out in. And I'm like, yeah, give me an underground tunnel situation. And so,
Hell yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles style.
yes. Yes. And it is also very fun to see Peter's college student mentality of like, you're offering me free food? Yes. Yes, I will take it. Thank you, people who
Yeah.
actually have money.
Yeah, like they had pizza. It was very much like one of those on campus events where they have like free pizza. And they couldn't resist like using the pizza time line, you know.
Oh yeah. Uh, I mean, come on. It's classic for a reason.
Yeah. Um and so they're like talking about some of the crimes going on in the city, and they got like this, you know, this bulletin board with the red strings and stuff, you know, and it's like a map of New York, basically coming up with strategies on like how to take down all these different criminals and stuff. And I was surprised that they were actually able to work in a Kingpin cameo. Like there's a scene where um they're able to like, you know, take down Kingpin's henchmen, and he's basically like, you know, Saturday morning cartoon villain be like, blast you, I'll get you for this, and like runs off.
Next time. I think it's fun when he shows up to cause a little mayhem and then disappears. I think that like helps like add to the like his mystique, you know?
So it feels like they were working in like cameos that don't go on for too long, which I guess is for the best because, you know, it's Spider-Man's movie.
Hmm.
We, you know, Rhino and Scorpion get more screen time than these other types of villains and criminals and stuff. But what'd you think of when Scorpion and Rhino teamed up, and then Spidey and his team had to like, you know, stuff was going down?
Well, I thought it was really fun. I mean, it's not a team up crossover movie. And I thought they did a really good job of making it focused on Peter while also being like, he's learning to like be able to like rely on other people and not just like kind of like a Tony Stark situation of like, well, I can like rely on them for like sponsorship, and they can be my patron of crime fighting, but like, hey, like, and not like, oh, I'm the new kid tag along, but like, hey, I can like team up with people and I can make friends and we can work together and we can
Yeah, it's
defeat.
just like going to college, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, this was such a fun scene, you know, and they had it like take place at this you know, this building that is kind of run down but has a lot of materials for them to work with. And it's like during a parade, so like the stakes are high. too, because there are people around like outside of the building. And yeah, also I guess kind of a throwback to like the parade scene of the first Toby movie, but sort of a different angle, I guess.
Yeah, like more tension of like trying to keep it contained. And I thought it was really fun since it was like kind of like it was like like a bit more like kind of like industrial, like you said, but like it's not the like I feel like Peter especially is used to like having a lot more room to work, and especially and is not used to teaming up with people. So I thought like the close quarters environment was really interesting and fun, and I thought the fight choreography was really good. Like I said, they let my man flip. They let him do his little spinniest. And I felt like everyone's personalities and their strengths and their abilities and their fighting style was really well showcased in this like kind of climactic fight.
Yeah, and there's a moment where uh I think it was Scorpion, he tries taunting Peter. After he does a spin, he's like, well, if it isn't spinniest and Ferb. So, throwing in that little dig. Um, but yeah, I thought this was really cool. And because of Scorpion's like sharp tail, there's like a giant balloon that gets like blown up and whatever, and people get scared and there's like panic and whatnot. So you really do feel the scale of this. And I like that, we see like genuine reactions from like the bystanders who are around. We get these close-ups that show like how they're reacting, what they're feeling. It just makes it feel more real.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's like seeing 1,000 faceless people was not gonna feel the stakes as much about the reaction shots. And I do have to say that I know the Spidey team up movie, like I know they all work together, but I think there's something different and interesting and valuable of like having Peter have to work with people with completely different skill sets that are not Peter Parker's
Yeah, it's like when you
on
join
equal.
a D&D party, you're trying to not all be the same character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna
And
get the Spidey accused of playing League of Legends.
yeah, I've did you play League of Legends? Are you like really into that or
I have not really played it, but my good high school friend's hu now husband is a writer at Riot, and my sister loves calling League of Legends League of Losers. Apologies to anyone who still plays.
No, yeah, I have a friend who like we both really liked the show Arcane, and I asked her, "Have you ever played League of Legends?" And she jokingly said, "Well, I've never played League of Legends because I'm not a loser." But yeah, I've never played it, but I love the show Arcane. It's so good.
Yeah, yeah, I have to finish the second season, just mostly because every time I'd be like, I'm gonna watch it, and then I'd watch it. I'm like, oh, this is a bummer. I'm gonna watch something a little
Yeah.
happier right now.
Yeah, before watching the second season, someone warned me that some of it feels too real, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, yeah. But would definitely recommend any of the main Spider-Man games over League of Legends because it's like it's a weird top-down. I can't do like a top-down video game as much unless it's like a Baldur's Gate where I could see like a little bit better. Because it's just so all the characters are so tiny and it's hard to follow what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. Um, and while all this stuff is happening in the movie, MJ and Ned suspect that Peter has a secret. What do they think that his secret was?
They thought that he was running like a legal crypto scheme. Like they thought he was using all the like school resources and stuff to like mine for Bitcoins.
Yeah, yeah, that was such a funny moment because like they confront him and or like we know your secret, and he's like trying not to like give it away, and then they say what they think it is, and he's like, what the hell? And he just doesn't know how to react.
I too would be like, well, that's not what I want you to think, but I don't know what other excuse I can give you at this moment.
Yeah, and he's trying to like figure out, is this something that would make MJ like me less? Like, do I need to like explain myself? Like, because he still really wants her to like him. Like, he wants to get back into that relationship, but he still has to do all the work because she doesn't remember
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna say the movie, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to defend it. 51st Dates.
him.
I'm scared to revisit. I'm scared to revisit.
Yeah, 51st Dates is an interesting movie. I think it's okay. It's not, there are worse Adam Sandler movies,
That
but
there are.
I do know someone who watched it and then she was like, "Oh yeah, I think this is one of my new favorite movies." And I'm like, "Okay, more power to you then." But yeah, it's
I'm glad it's held up, but in at least one person's mind, it is good. That makes me feel better.
yeah. It's so weird that Sean Astin's character in that movie became such a meme. Like everyone's like, you remember him as Samwise Gamgee. I remember him as Doug from 51st Dates. Or like you have people realizing that they're the same actor. I'm like, guys, you didn't know this?
I did not know this. Wow. You learn something new every day, you know? Range. Range is really what we're looking for here.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean Astin proving that he can play anyone. He can even voice a Ninja Turtle, you know.
Peter Parker, any Spider-Man would love hanging out with the Ninja Turtles. So,
Yeah,
bonus points for Peter Parker. Not
yeah,
getting that.
well, I've actually been reading the IDW Ninja Turtles comics for like the past year or so. Like I've read like the first 100 issues of that, and I also read the like Mirage stuff from the 80s, and really great stuff. Like in the newer IDW stuff, they really do sort of remix and reinterpret the things that people generally love about the Ninja Turtles, and the art is amazing. It's so good.
Okay. Yeah, we'll check it out.
Where are we in this movie? Like, what?
Well, I mean, we got the big like crossover, the big beat 'em up fight. So I guess we're at like the wrapping things up.
Yeah, like they basically set a trap for Scorpion where he gets he gets trapped into this high-tech sort of cage that I guess Peter and the Young Avengers somehow got, and so now because he has like the symbiote on himself, on Scorpion, like they want to put him somewhere where he can't cause too much harm. And Rhino, had they take down Rhino? I'm trying to remember.
But they used like in like a very like traditional like fighting Rhino way, they like used his own momentum against him. And I think like Miss Marvel like helped like kind of like direct him places. And then I think we had like a fun little trick arrow from Kate Bishop where like made him kind of like slip and fall. And that with some like Spidey like web carefully placed web shooting and such. I think like it was a fun it like as we were talking about like it kind of had like Home Alone-y energy of like working together to like create these
Yeah.
apps.
Yeah, there's even a moment where they electrocute one of the villains and they turn into a literal skeleton for a moment.
If it hits, it hits.
Yeah. Peter has like this new team, and they have like this little back and forth of like, should we call ourselves the Young Avengers? Is that too cheesy? I mean, we're not gonna be young forever, but yeah, like they, I don't know, it was like a fun back and forth, and it's nice seeing Peter have these types of friends. It reminds me of when at the end of the first Avengers movie, you see that Bruce Banner, who's been alone for so long, now he has like actual friends, like super powered friends.
Yeah.
Um,
It was nice too because like I've been saying, like they're like his age, I feel like on his level and like colleagues more where he always felt like kind of like the Gee Whiz kid in like the Avenger, like the crossover movies. So it's like especially like what you're saying, it's we've seen him go through so much that it's nice for to see him like have this moment of friendship.
yeah.
Feeling
Eh,
included.
yeah, so he's in a good place with them and with Ned and MJ.
Yeah, I like how it wasn't like they remember now, but I liked how there was like good steps towards that friendship and progress. Like I like how it wasn't just immediately like undone.
yeah. And for the mid-credit scene, I guess there is a bit of a time skip. Like we're shown Peter on like a date with MJ. Where were they for this date?
Oh, it was so sweet. I
Yeah, it's
think
like their
they were at the
first date, I think.
deli. They were at the deli that MJ used to work at. Yeah, I think she used to work at.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
she's
I thought
like, "How did you know I worked here?" And he was like, "Oh, I just looking," or like he was like, "Oh, you mentioned it one time."
yeah. And she's like impressed that he remembered, and then he um he says something along the lines of, well, one of us has to, because he's the only one who remembers. Apparently.
That hurt my feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, that got me in the feels. But yeah, I thought that was cool that, instead of something that teases the next thing for this mid-credit scene, it's like a nice, slice of life type of first date type of thing. I thought that was really refreshing.
Yeah.
And what do they have for the post-credit scene?
Well, it is an MCU movie, so of course we had to have something that ties into the larger universe. And of course it's X-Men because we gotta keep setting up X-Men and not having any of the X-Men. Um, but we got a little look at Storm, and that is very, very exciting. And the design is her design is very, very cool. So I'm looking forward to more of her.
Yeah, it was during this scene where she was watching the news and there are these photos of taken by the paparazzi or whatever of the hero and villains fight, and she's like, well, it's nice that these young heroes are accepted. Maybe someday we can be too, because mutants and whatnot.
Always a chip on their shoulder for understandable reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's still resonates with people today. So
Yeah, that is true. That's very, very true.
yeah. But yeah, was there anything else you wanted to bring up before we go into final scores and whatnot?
Well, like I said, I liked the web swinging. I do want to point out that there was a new director for this movie, and he was the one that
Oh
did it.
yeah.
Gonna butcher it. Shang-Chi, and the fight scenes in Shang-Chi were very good. I think the problems in th that movie were more just like kind of like letting the CGI overtake too much, and I felt
Mhm.
like that was toned down a lot for this movie, and so I think the director's strengths really came through, and so I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you could tell there was a difference in the choreography here compared to the previous Spider-Man movies. And yeah, I really enjoyed Shang-Chi. But the CGI, like I totally agree with like the CGI critique. Um, but yeah, but stellar film overall. And yeah, it was cool that they were able to carry out that sort of um, choreographic language into this film. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, investing in a good stunt coordinator and not relying on I know it's like I know Marvel movies are like this big giant budget nightmare, and I know you're pretty much making a movie by committee, but like having the faith in or letting the director like put in the work and not have it all just be like these quick cuts, I think really paid off.
Yeah. I am not a committee. It's from that really old movie, The Empire Strikes Back. Camille is shaking her head for those who can't see.
Oh man. He makes me feel old and he's my age.
All right. So, what are your final thoughts? Score out of 10. And do you know of measurement for that score for Spider-Man Brand New Day?
I would give it a 9 out of 10, and that's 9 um spin like Peter Parker doing little flips out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I think coming out of the theater, I was less hyped than No Way Home because I mean, I went and saw that like midnight release and like I'd seen it before like I knew they were gonna be in it, but like seeing all the Spider-Men together like was very cool and I was so hyped. But then afterwards I was like I don't know if the plot was the best, and I felt like I came out of this one I was like, oh well, I enjoyed that, and I feel like the longer I think about it the more I did really enjoy it.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'd also give this a 9 out of 10 pizza slices.
Nice.
Um, it's a very nice, very slice of life, even though there are stakes. And it's back to basics in a way after we've had so much multiverse fatigue. So I do kind of like that they negotiated, trying to dial back away from that, even though they still like put in like some MCU character moments, but there were good moments, with the young Avengers, that felt natural for the progression of this Peter Parker. And yeah, just a lot of it was very refreshing. It also made me nostalgic for, college, those
Yeah.
old college days.
It was really sweet. It's like it's similar to Superman of like you can have a lot of superheroes in a movie and like when the cast list comes out, maybe people are like, "Oh, that's too many," but like
Yeah.
sometimes it just helps to make the world feel more grounded, you
Y-
know?
Yeah, that's a good point because that was a legitimate concern with the new Superman movie, but coming out of it, I was like, that was so fun. It was like actually reading a comic, like where it's like a Superman mini series, and you'll have these appearances from other characters because it's already a built up world, and it felt right, like it didn't feel too cluttered.
Yeah, exactly. Just makes it feel like lived in and like helps reinforce the message of the movie that like he may be like isolated and going through a hard time, but he's not alone.
Yeah, man, that was such a good movie. I know that's such a like not a hot take to say, but it's just true. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie, and we needed a good Superman movie.
Yeah. All right. So thanks for joining me for this episode, Camille. Do you have anything you want to like plug or recommend or like something for people to watch or something?
Thank you for letting me go on many a spider tangent. I don't have anything at the moment, but I'm actually working on a stand-up set at the moment.
Oh,
Which is
nice.
exciting. Yeah. So once that is in a form that is viewable, I will let you know.
Nice. So is this something you're gonna try to like do at some sort of venue, or are you kind of just workshopping it at the moment?
I'm workshop and like going to open mics and like working on it because I love comedy and we both come from an improv background. So
Yeah.
I think stand up is very scary and so it's been always been
Yeah.
something I've wanted to do and so I want to like how like work on a set and have it be like I'd be comfortable like sharing it online. So that's the goal.
Nice. Yeah, I've tried stand up like no more than a handful of times, mainly before going to UCI. And UCI is where I discovered improv. And I was like, oh, I actually prefer this because I can be more spontaneous and not have to remember a set or whatever. But you know, if the opportunity ever presents itself, if there's an open mic and I don't know, if I don't feel like reading a poem or something, I could try stand up and see how it goes. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a neat challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's very different from like all the other acting and comedy forms that I've done. And so I've been finding it like a good challenge of like essentially we've been talking about like how important teamwork is and that's that's what I'm used to. So like having to push myself to stand be up there by myself is has been fun.
Yeah. Have you ever watched a movie from the 80s called Punchline?
I have not.
So it stars Sally Field, who, funny enough, played Aunt May in The Amazing Spider-Man. Um,
Oh,
but she was also, Forrest Gump's mom. And what's weird is in this movie, Punchline, Tom Hanks plays a comedian that she sort of befriends, and there's like a little bit of like romantic tension. And it's really weird because like in Forrest Gump, they're mother and son, but she's married to John Goodman and has, a family. So there's that angle. But just seeing like the struggles of like trying to be a funny stand-up comedian, it's kind of the Marvelous Miss Maisel before the Marvelous Miss Maisel in a way. Um, but yeah, it's sort of a hidden gem that I recommend people check out.
wait, I've just looked it up, so I'll add that to my list.
All right. And if you end up disliking it, you can just blame me, tell them I sent you.
Steven, why?
um, but yeah, I really like that movie. But yeah, so thanks again for joining me. And the show will be back in 2 weeks with a different movie topic. So without further delay, have a good day.
Or have a brand new day, I guess I should say. Alright, this is Steven in the edit. Now, before my other self shows up and shares his non spoiler thoughts on a few new movies, like the new Naked Gun movie, Together, and Weapons, and also first impressions on Alien Earth, and thoughts on some other stuff. Before he shows up, you can email delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on college. Any cool college memories? I don't know. And you can also follow me via the socials listed in the show notes, and also go to stevenshinder.com for info on my standalones and stepping stones novels. Those are my works, my passion. I would really appreciate it if you check those out and leave reviews and such. So yeah, and you can also check me out on a podcast that I do with my dad called Yes Shift, where we talk about the band Yes and related stuff. We recently interviewed John Perez, drummer of Texas-based Yes tribute band Close to the Yes, and also talked about different prog bands, and we have other stuff that's coming out soon on our podcast. And also check out Drum Talk TV Brilliance and all the artist Q&As happening there. So yeah, that's it for now. And oh, my other self will also talk about King of the Hill a little bit, I think. So yeah, without further delay, here is my other self. Hey everyone, so King of the Hill Season 14. I finally put out a non-spoiler video review of it, as well as a ranking of King of the Hill, quote, series finales, unquote, over on my YouTube channel, Steven Shinder Reviews in video form. Finally got around to King of the Hill content after posting a Superman and Fantastic Four First Steps review, so check those videos out. I'm not sure when the next video will be or how soon it may come out, but yeah, without spoiling it, I loved this revival of King of the Hill. For the most part, it feels like the characters have evolved naturally into what they should or what you'd expect them to be. For us, it's been 15 years later, and the characters have aged, although the ages and the years are not consistent because, it's a cartoon, it's a floating timeline. Hank and the other adults are in their mid to late 50s, it seems, and Bobby Hill is 21 and he's a chef at a restaurant. I love what they do with Bobby and his storyline and how he's grown, how he deals with relationships, and they brought back as much of the remaining cast as they could. Dale sounds older, and unfortunately Johnny Hardwick passed away after recording, I think it was 6 episodes of the revival. But Toby Huss stepped in and took over the role for him. Toby has done other King of the Hill voices, and he did a good job matching the older Dale voice, so there is consistency there. Con and Ted's new voices take some getting used to. I do think it was the right call to recast them and recast Joseph as well. But yeah, I'm cool with the new voices, and some of this stuff I talk about a bit more in the video on my channel, but yeah, I loved this season. I gave it a 9 out of 10, so a bit of room for improvement, but the next season or batch of episodes or whatever cannot come soon enough. Now, another thing that has come out via Hulu is Alien Earth. The first 2 episodes have come out. This is made by Noah Hawley, who worked on Legion, which for my money is one of the best Marvel shows. Not even just live action, just in general. But Alien Earth takes place 2 years before the original Alien film. I saw some people saying that this cannot take place in the same timeline, or continuity, I should say, as Prometheus and Alien Covenant, but I disagree. Prometheus, Alien Earth, I think suggests that the xenomorphs came from somewhere a few decades before this show, different from what we see in Prometheus and Covenant. But even Prometheus itself, with this mural sort of thing, suggested, or to me always seemed to suggest, that xenomorphs were around for a long time before then, and they weren't just for the first time being created in those prequel films. The xenomorphs could be created independently and in different time periods. I guess you could use the Alien versus Predator movies as examples, although depending on who you ask, it's like, are those in continuity? I remember for a time I'd heard from someone who was doing some consulting work for Fox in the 2010s that Fox views Alien, Predator, and Alien vs. Predator as 3 separate franchises, maybe even 3 separate canons, as you will. But under Disney, it kind of feels like that it is maybe changing. Like, they kind of feel like they could be the same universe, perhaps. I don't know. And you also have the Blade Runner connection. It's been long said that Blade Runner takes place prior to Alien, although since that's from a different company, I think it's Warner Brothers. I don't know how that works, but they're definitely Easter eggs and similarities, and it is cool to think of them as one universe. But anyway, Alien Earth, I'm still trying to figure out how much I like it. The pacing is different. I'm so used to the thrills of an Alien movie being condensed into a decent feature film length, and whereas this has a bit slower pacing, and I mean, that's fine. They're trying something different, so I feel like this might be something where I don't know how much I like it until the season concludes. They are releasing weekly. They dropped the first 2 episodes on the first night, but yeah, every Tuesday, so I guess I'll see how much I end up liking that. There is a stupid thing happening where, because Ice Age Continental Drift appears in the show, the characters are watching the show, people are sharing around posts saying Ice Age is canon in the Alien universe, which that wording is very misleading. It's not really accurate. It's just that the Ice Age movies exist as movies within the Alien universe. They are not canon to the universe. But yeah, the inclusion of that particular Ice Age film was odd, and there's the inclusion of Disney's animated Peter Pan, which makes a little bit more sense with the themes. And Continental Drift, I guess, has pirates just like Peter Pan does. But the inclusion of those kind of made this feel a bit like a Disney Plus ad. So mixed feelings on that. But there were some interesting moments. The alien itself looks... I've heard a friend describe it as plasticky, and that's a good way to describe it. So I don't know. I do like how there are interesting ideas about synthetic life. That's kind of gone hand in hand with the Alien franchise. So I am curious to see how they explore that some more here. But I'll keep checking it out. What I do love is how each new Alien project, Romulus and now Alien Earth, even if I might be unsure about some things or feel like some things fall short in places, I love how these releases spark more Alien discussion online, on social media, and it's just so fun. But yeah, there's that show. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the current season, has been continuing. I've still been really enjoying that. Just a few more episodes left in this season. I'm super invested in that universe and these characters. I like what they're doing with Captain Kirk in this iteration. A different actor, but it's that character. And I've also been continuing Dexter Resurrection. Surprisingly, I am invested in this show. So maybe New Blood, like maybe going against New Blood, how that ended, and showing Dexter Original Sin, maybe it is worth it to get to Resurrection. Although I am a bit worried about what could happen over the next few episodes, but I guess we'll see what happens exactly. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. South Park released a second episode in the current season, which is very critical about a certain organization, and rightly so. Although some of the imagery, the violent imagery, some of it I could have done without, although I get the point that they were making, and that's South Park. It's basically what you can expect from it. They did skip another week, and so I don't know if this is like another part of the schedule, like if it's always going to be every other week for them, like how it is for this podcast generally. But I am curious what they'll do, what they'll say about current stuff as the season continues. Now, as for movies, I watched the new Naked Gun movie, and I went in hoping that maybe I would love it more than the original 3 movies, which I found to just be okay at best. I'd heard some good word of mouth from friends, and then I went to see the movie. I actually watched it right after seeing the film together, which I'll get to that in a moment. But I watched The Naked Gun. Lots of people in my theater were laughing, but I wasn't laughing as much, or if at all. So, unfortunately, I don't know. The jokes just didn't really land for me. Again, it's another just okay movie to me. The humor didn't feel very groundbreaking, really. I rewatched the Jump Street movies not too long after that viewing, and those are still like much more fun to me for the most part. There are things here and there that show their age, of course, but yeah, I'm kind of bummed that I wasn't that into this new Naked Gun movie, but it is what it is. Together, the new body horror movie starring Dave Franco and Alison Brie, I really enjoyed that concept. This disease thing that makes it so that two people, their bodies get attracted to each other and want to like merge with each other into one. And it's I won't spoil anything, but it is an interesting concept, a very horrific imagery. Again, it's body horror, but it doesn't go quite as far as other body horror things. It could be kind of a gateway, I guess. A little gateway into body horror. I have heard, there is like a little, these claims of plagiarism, though supposedly the script for this might have been registered before the year that the premise was claimed to have been pitched. So, I mean, I guess this is something I would have to look into some more, because, yeah, it really sucks when that sort of thing happens with movies. But, not knowing beforehand about any of this, it was a wild experience. I gave it an 8 out of 10 coming out of it, and The Naked Gun a 6 out of 10. But a horror movie I saw more recently that I ended up preferring, maybe even above 28 years later, so therefore now my favorite film of the year, was Weapons. And it does have shifting perspectives, point of views throughout, but trust me, it pays off. The structure, I wasn't so sure of it at first, but they really brought out a really cool original story with this. It's more of a mystery movie with supernatural horror elements, I guess I would say. The inciting incident is that a bunch of children who are in the same classroom, one night at like 2:17 a.m. they all run out of their houses and go missing, and so people are blaming the teacher because she is the common thread, being in charge of that classroom. And you see the reactions of other people and what certain people in the town find out, and it's a really great mystery film. It's impressive, and there are even moments here and there that'll make you laugh. Like me and my theater were laughing at certain moments. It's so good. So I'd give that a 9 out of 10. Another recent-ish horror movie I watched was Longlegs. The one with Nicolas Cage, and I'd heard there was hype surrounding it, but also heard mixed things, and I think I'm more in the mixed category on this one. It wasn't as captivating to me as maybe it was to other people, and this movie, Nicolas Cage's vocal performance at certain points made me realize that he and Adam Sandler are so much alike in some of those like vocal performance aspects. But yeah, I thought it was okay. I ended up preferring Osgood Perkins's next film, The Monkey, though it looks like I might be in the minority there preferring that. I just enjoyed the dark humor in that, and it's maybe it's an 8, and maybe Longlegs is a 6, or maybe slightly above that. I don't know, but The Monkey, I thought, handled the humor pretty well, and I didn't mind the narration style. There's also a little bit of narration at the beginning of the weapon that I thought wasn't really necessary, but that's just a minor gripe with that film. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Monkey. I don't know why it has the reputation it has, but I haven't looked too deeply into it. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty funny horror comedy movie, and I guess I'll see what Perkins's next film, Keepers or whatever it's called, is like, and where that would be in my rankings. I don't know if that'll be a theater watch or a watch from home type of thing, but I guess we'll see. I also watched K-pop Demon Hunters finally, this animated film that's on Netflix, and I'm not usually a listener of K-pop. It's not a genre I tend to explore, but that being said, I really loved the music in this film. It enhanced the heroic moments, and the characters had a great dynamic, and it's that sort of Spider-Verse type of animation. So yeah, I think this one would be an 8 as well. But yeah, and there's some other recent movies I want to catch up on. But regarding horror, and a reason that this episode is coming out later in the day is today, August 16th, I went to Midsummer Scream with a couple of friends. My friend Haley, who's been on the podcast a few times, most recently on the Smurfs episode, invited me to this, and our friend Maddie hung out with us too. It was... I guess I should mention what we cosplayed as. I basically ordered a Curse of Chucky mask from online. Haley was Patrick Bateman. I guess like gender swapped Patrick Bateman, and really great job with the cosplay, and with Maddie's as well as Eddie from It, with the cast and everything that says loser and then the V over the S in loser. And yeah, Maddie got stopped by a good number of people to compliment them on their cosplay. And we also bumped into another, I guess, gender band or gender swapped, whatever the correct term is, Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. So Haley got a picture with her, and yeah, some cool cosplays. We saw a Leatherface with a grandpa prop. There were some ghost faces, people wearing the Chucky overalls, and at least a couple of people carrying the Chucky doll. The panel that I really wanted to go to was the horror musical review panel. And one of my friends from college, Alyssa Corella, she plays Amanda, and I think John Kramer as well, in Saw the Musical. It's like this parody musical. And so she was one of the guests there at that panel, sang a couple of the songs, one of them being... maybe the title of it is Heroine, and it's like, I believe from Amanda's perspective, and it was pretty funny, and a great vocal performance, and she had this Billy, the Jigsaw puppet thing, and sang a song through that. So I've now finally heard a couple songs from this musical that I've been meaning to see, and I will at some point. But yeah, this gave me that extra nudge to be like, yeah, I really gotta check out this musical. And the creator of the musical, I guess his sister co-wrote this, or wrote a good amount of the script, so it was a collaboration type thing. She was the one who pointed out to him that you could look as the original Saw as a movie with gay subtext, and whether it's intentional or not, I have always thought that there are a few lines, especially toward the end of the original Saw, that could be interpreted in that type of manner. And I mean, it certainly inspired YouTubers online with their shipping and tributes set to love songs and whatnot. I remember a video where someone set it to The Reason by Hoobastank, clips from the movie. But yeah, so there's that, and they were inspired by Silence, the musical, and which, a couple of the other guests there were the two creators of that, and they showed the Lego Lamb, or I guess Lego Lamb's YouTube video of a Lego animation of Buffalo Bill / Jim Gum and, the dog Precious. And wow, I'm such a huge Thomas Harris, Hannibal Lecter books fan, and I'm blanking on the name of the senator's daughter. Is it Catherine Martin? Is that her name? But yeah, so basically a song that takes place just before the knock on the door, and it's Buffalo Bill singing a show tune and Precious ending up in the well with Catherine. And they also showcased a few of their other videos. One of them had clips from The Thing, John Carpenter's 1982 film, set to a Broadway-esque song, I guess that they may have come up with. And basically it's like the Thing is singing about, you may think I'm a dog, but I'm a thing, or something like that. It's so entertaining. There's a Predator one where there are clips from the original Predator film, but the lyrics are sung in an Arnold type of accent. And then there was a Christmas song for Terrifier 3, and yeah, just really entertaining, and they get a lot of work. They mentioned a couple other films that they've done music for. So yeah, I'm really curious about Silence the musical now. I remember hearing about it 10 years ago, but yeah, I don't know when it could be playing anywhere near me in the immediate future. And then after that, the guest for Screamed the musical, I guess they had the creator of the musical there, who wasn't a huge fan of the Scream movie, like as a horror movie, but you recognized, how it could be turned into a musical, and I guess has worked on something called Crafted, which is based on The Craft, it's a parody musical, and got really into wanting to put songs of that era of like 1996, maybe even slightly earlier, and putting them in the Scream story. And so then we got the actors who play the musicals versions of Randy Meeks. Randy Meeks is like the fourth wall breaking character introducing the characters here, and we got Sydney and Billy Loomis, their first scene, and they sing what's that song that's in She's All That? Is it Kiss Me or something? And actually that song came out after 1996, so I guess they're being slightly anachronistic, which I kind of suspected when I believe I heard them mention American Pie, and that came out in 1999. Well, I wasn't sure if they were referencing the film or the song, but yeah, there was that, and then there was a song in the video store where, Randy Meeks and Stu Mocker are talking, and Billy is also in the store, the video store. And man, I can't remember if the song that Stu sang was a real well-known song, but in any case, I think it was a song that made it seem like he's really into Billy Loomis, and we know the dynamic of the characters in the original movie, so this was a fun thing to see, like this interpretation. So after that, we did a bit more exploring John Carpenter was at a booth. The line was really long, and there are a few other booths that I noticed from, some people involved in big franchises of horror. And one of them was Christine Elise, who played Kyle in the Chucky franchise. In Child's Play 2, she is Andy's foster sister, and she returns later in the franchise. But yeah, when I got to talk to her, I took a selfie with her and told her I really was glad that she was able to return for the Chucky TV show. And I asked her if she had any input on how Kyle should be when she's brought back and if it was a collaboration of sorts. And she said something along the lines of, I told them, don't make me a soccer mom, make me a badass. And I told her, well, indeed they did. 'Cause, she really is a badass in the Chucky TV show. And so after all that, I wished her the best, and she seemed like she really appreciated that. So, uh, yeah, this is a great con to go to. Really glad that Haley invited me to this, and we all had a lot of fun. Um, yeah, it's I was kind of surprised that I did not see anyone doing the weapons run. Like, you could easily do a weapons cosplay by just running in the manner with your arms wide spread in a certain way, like the characters in the movie. But anyway, maybe not enough people have seen it at the con, or I don't know. What am I saying? These are horror fans, so yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Could simply be a matter of everyone just having already planned their cosplays way in advance, and that's why. But yeah, maybe that could be my cheap alternative to cosplaying at some other con somewhere in the future. But yeah, really fun day. And again, delayed replay will be back in 2 weeks. So thank you for listening and, and entertaining my little recap of this day at Midsummer Scream and my thoughts on movies and such. So without further delay, have a good day.